God bless everybody. Today it's January 4th of 2024. I wanted to bring this article to your attention and how I've been talking about how especially 2 Kings 24 indicates we would see 4 proxies around Israel, around the West Bank, Golan Heights, and Lebanon areas would attack into Israel, and it would be a sustained attack, and that would potentially happen between January 6th with a potential high mark of January 15th on 10 Tevet. I've talked about that date, about 588 BCE, how that was the original siege on Jerusalem in the past during Nebuchadnezzar's siege on the city, and so that to me is a high watch date that we should be watching as this is inflaming in front of our eyes. And potentially even on January 6th, we could see even Erdogan of Turkey start to enter this conflict somehow. Don't know how that's all going to work out. It just indicates, based on the paradigm, that between January 6th and February 5th, we would see a lot of things happening. And so I'm bringing this to your attention because we had that Hamas leader killed in Lebanon in Beirut the other day. That's caused a firestorm of rhetoric from the leaders of Hezbollah and from Lebanon and a whole lot of other countries, as well as you had that bombing, those 2 explosions in Iran that's brought them into a heightened state of emergency also. And so there is a lot happening out here. But this one is going to affect you quite profoundly within days or weeks here, and so we need to cover this information, keep you aware of what's happening on here. So we had that attack into Beirut, Lebanon. It killed 4 people. One of them was a leader of the Lebanese militia, and so they're going to take revenge on Israel for this assassination. They believe Israel's caused this. Actually, the global community believes that Israel did this. They targeted this guy. They killed him. And so this has inflamed this whole area. This leader had an important speech, and it indicated that this is why all eyes are on Hezbollah leader Nasrallah on Wednesday evening as he gave a speech the day after the alleged Israeli assassination in Beirut. In his speech, Nasrallah called the killing a major, dangerous crime, but he made no concrete threats about escalation because he's not going to telegraph what they're going to do. I mean, that would be insane. Hey, Israel, we're going to come in on this day and we're going to attack you, which is probably 10 Tevet, which is a major holiday, and when you were attacked originally in the past. So, wow, it sounds like a really good day. I think we'll attack you on there. They're not going to tell you all that. He's not going to give you that information. But as you go down in this article, it's interesting that it's the way he said it in his rhetoric that made people wonder what was coming next. So Nasrallah's comments were hard to interpret because he's not going to give up his hand. His speeches are designed so that it triggers people, but it doesn't actually inform us what's happening out here. Some longtime Hezbollah observers suggested his tone was more aggressive than in previous speeches. Others, including Lebanese foreign minister, seem to think that Hezbollah, one of the most important political forces in his country, were unlikely to declare all-out war on Israel. And I say that this is propaganda and misdirection, because I believe they are getting ready to go in, and they're going to tell you, no, why would we do that? Why would we go into Israel and attack them after they attacked us in our own capital and killed one of Hamas's main leaders? Hezbollah's going to get into this. They're ready to fight. We hope they don't commit themselves to a larger war. They have a lot of reasons to think that this will not happen, indicated by this guy. Nobody in Lebanon wants this, he added, including, he suspected, Hezbollah. But it's interesting that in the next statement here, as we go down here, how they've amplified their preparation for an attack on Israel as we move forward since actually 2006. So they've been preparing for a long time for this invasion, and they built all these tunnel systems underneath their area, and I suspect possibly we have tunnel systems that run under Israel from some of these areas even. So they would have access from underground into Israel because they've already built the tunnels. We don't know that for sure, but we're going to find out soon probably whether this is going to happen. And so we would have potentially groups pop up in certain places within the country, and they could take hostages and things back. Potentially even a leader of Israel if they know where he is. We'll see how that turns out. So in 2006, they had the military and Hezbollah fought a damaging 34-day war in Lebanon after Hezbollah abducted several Israeli soldiers. Wow. So this is a common theme. Every once in a while, Hezbollah, or Hamas go into Israel, they take these people, and then they barter for things, political prisoners, money, whatever they want, because they have Israel's people. And so this has been something they've been deploying for some time. Millions were displaced, over 1,000 were killed, and the Lebanese infrastructure was badly damaged. This is not going to be anything compared to what's coming up here. The fight essentially ended in a stalemate and Israel's withdrawal. So even back then, Israel wasn't able to deal with this threat. That's why they're still here all these years later. And they're going to stay here until they eliminate them. And this one is going to get eliminated over time because this whole area is going to break down soon. Since 2006, Hezbollah has massively expanded its arsenal and sophistication in its weaponry. Yes, this is a totally different war than anything we've ever seen, with the drones, the missiles, the strategic placement of things. It's going to get crazy out here. So Jeffrey Feltman, a visiting foreign policy fellow at the U.S. think tank, the Brookings Institute, said in a November commentary, the purpose of Hezbollah's estimated 150,000 rockets. They've got drones, they've got all kinds of stuff, and they're very precision rockets compared to what Hamas has. They're much higher tech. Iran has supplemented them with a much higher level of carnage if they want to unleash this. And if they unleash 150,000 rockets, drones, and all these things at one time, they would overwhelm Israel's defense systems. And this would cause them all kinds of problems because there's no way they could stop this many missiles coming in at one time. And so that's something else we have to think about. So they have these estimated 150,000 rockets that are supposed to deter from Israel from a massive attack on Iran. Okay, so they're not even trying to protect Lebanon. They're trying to supposedly deter Israel from a massive attack on Iran, or to retaliate for a massive Israeli attack on Iran. Okay, so they're going to attack and actually do an invasion. Hezbollah is going to invade into Israel, and it's going to be a sustained attack. It's not going to be like Hamas where they go in, take a bunch of people, kill a bunch of people, do what they did, and then leave. Hezbollah is going to stay there because they're going to try to eliminate Israel as a nation as we move forward into the future. So this is not going to improve, and this is going to break out in the next couple of weeks here. I've talked about potentially the 15th of January being this date of a potential invasion. Now, this has been a build-up over years. So since 2006, they put all these infrastructure, tunnels in, missiles, drones, all this stuff. And they are a patient people up there getting ready to attack Israel with all this hardware at once. Is going to be an interesting sight when it actually happens. So Since 2006, the two sworn enemies have regularly engaged in the tit-for-tat exchanges of rockets on Lebanese northern border. That's a regular occurrence, experts say, and indicates that both sides apparently accept the unofficial rules of engagement based around deterrence. But this is getting ready to change, and a red line is getting ready to be formed here and crossed. This summer, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu explicitly threatened to kill al-Arouri, however you say that, several months before the October 7th terror attack on Israel by Hamas. Hamas is classified as a terrorist organization by the U.S., EU, Israel, and other governments. In response, Hezbollah leader Nasrallah declared that these kinds of assassinations were a red line for his organization, no matter who they targeted. And you just had a targeting of a Hamas leader that killed 4 people there, and so this is a red line. And so he came out, he's telling his people, they've been talking about they want to invade Israel. I don't know what this article is saying, that they don't want to hold back. That is not the case in that country. They pretty much have sided with Hamas, and they want to do something. They're getting the troops ready to go in, and the population is getting ready. They're talking to them, basically telling them that they're going to do something about this. The latest alleged Israeli assassination by drone in the middle of a crowded city suburb over 100 kilometers from the border. That's a long way into the country. This is not like a border skirmish either, as it was up here. These are real attacks deep into the country. So this isn't something that they're going to do, they're going to deal with lightly here. You're literally assassinating people within the country, and how many people are they going to assassinate before Hezbollah does something about it? Probably not too many. So it's 100 kilometers from the border, known as a Hezbollah stronghold. Both crosses Nasrallah's red line and is a clear shift away from the unofficial rules of engagement. And look at that. They've shown you the guys that they're concerned about. The guy that was killed in Iran, General Soleimani, and the other guy. So they're showing you that Iran and the Lebanese Hezbollah are united in their common goal to destroy Israel or to take revenge upon them. And so this is extremely important that we keep our eye on how they're playing this thing out, and that it looks to me like that invasion potentially could happen around that January 15 time. And I believe that we're going to see a major ramping up between January 6th to that attack on the 15th to a potential 6 SEAL nightmare on January 30th. And we'll see how that plays out. It may not play out at all, but so far it seems to be moving in that direction, so let's keep an eye on this stuff. In this part of the article, it indicates that recent events have upset the balance of deterrence because they're not doing tit-for-tat things anymore. They're literally doing surgical strikes inside the country now. And so this is a real problem for both sides. So this person from the University of UK indicates that in order to restore this, Hezbollah will have to respond. Whatever happens will have to be swift. They can't allow too much time to lag because Israel has already declared its intention to wage an ongoing campaign of assassinations of Hamas members. So we should be looking between January 6th and January 15th, which is my high point watch date, which is January 15th, which is Tevet, which is the original siege of Jerusalem in 588 BCE by Nebuchadnezzar. And so this is my theory, is they would originally attack and launch 2 Kings 24 verse 2, I believe, on them, which is the 4 proxies would attack Israel, and you would see them do a sustained attack against this country. Then the article goes on and says, although Israel has suggested these assassinations could happen in Qatar or even Turkey, and I've talked about that, if something would happen to where you would assassinate a Hamas leader in Turkey from an Israeli drone or anything, Turkey, Erdogan would go insane and he would invade immediately. There would be no time lapse, and he's getting ready to enter this anyway, so maybe we would see a potential assassination attempt or a bombing in Turkey, or maybe an assassination itself on a Hamas leader or something like that. And they just arrested those 33 uh, Israeli people for espionage, and they're looking for 13 more. I don't know how that's turned out. I haven't seen any more articles about that. So that's going on. That just happened in the last 24 to 48 hours. It indicates here that they didn't necessarily know that Israel would actually hit them in a drone in Qatar or Turkey, because that is a pretty bold move. Lebanon is one thing because they're already attacking them, and so they sent a drone into the middle of Beirut and destroyed 4 guys with it. That's in the scope of war down here, but not necessarily if you go to Qatar or Turkey. That would be a game changer. The most likely place for this act would be in Lebanon. Hezbollah knows full well that if it doesn't respond to this, firstly, that Israel may not only strike another Palestinian target in Lebanon, but also that secondly, it may actually view Hezbollah as weak, and that would embolden Israel because they're not doing anything. Sort of like when we get attacked over 100 and close to 110 times and we've only responded like 5 times, they keep doing it. Similar situation here. So they need to carefully calibrate an attack which doesn't embarrass Israel and force it to respond in a more escalatory manner. Now, I don't agree with that. I think they're going to hit them hard this time. I think they've had enough. I think they're watching Hamas down there get hammered, and I think they're going to enter this because this is the second wave right before the third wave, which is Turkey coming down here soon. But which also sends the message that you can't continue this. You can't use Beirut as a military theater. Okay, but they're talking about moving these guys back almost 20 miles into Lebanon. And then they're going to have to deal with the infrastructure underneath the ground and all the problems that they're having similar to Hamas as they move forward. So I don't get some of these arguments that they throw down because it doesn't make any sense if Israel's goal is to eliminate Hamas and Hezbollah as threats to their border. And Israel's got a problem because they got 85,000 people that they've evacuated from these northern cities. They cannot put their people back in there. They won't let them go back until they clear this area. That's why they want 20-mile zone between them to eliminate this problem of them being attacked or potentially another invasion like they did down south. But there is going to be an invasion coming, and that will be an invasion by Hezbollah this time into the country, and this will be a bad one because Hezbollah is a totally different animal than Hamas. And on it says, never since October 8th has Hezbollah found itself in a position so delicate, indicated by this editor-in-chief of the Lebanese newspaper. He indicates if Hezbollah does nothing, it opens the way for more attacks of this kind in its stronghold. But the response is too strong. It opens the way for an all-out war. I believe we're already in the all-out war thing coming. You've got Hezbollah basically indicating you have over 22,000 Gazans killed down there, mostly women and children, whatever they're throwing down today. I don't know what the numbers are, and regardless, it's a tragedy that there's any life being lost over here. Hezbollah or Hamas did not have to originally come into Israel and do what they did. And that's what caused this original attack from Israel into this country and escalated all these other areas. And so it's the original root cause, even though this conflict's gone back almost 70, 75 years. So it indicates here, so far observers say that Hezbollah does not seem to want to expand its military operation or its response to firmly to any provocation, but now you've just crossed a red line, which is going to be something they have to do something about. They can't sit on it, so that's changed. There must have been other assassinations in the past. They have not seemed to react to them, but we're in a totally different war zone now than we were in these other times. And so I believe that they will respond. And I may be wrong on that. It could be different. But 2 Kings 24 says we will see 4 proxies literally attack Israel at one time, and it will be an invasionary type process. In fact, it is Israel that may be more of a black box, Sad said. It is hard to say what Israel's intentions are because the country is being run by most far-right government and it has that's ever seen, and had also because Israel's political options are so divided. And it is true. Netanyahu's government is pretty extremely right. They have had massive protests against Netanyahu's administration at this time. That's been part of the problem with Israel, is all these different groups are struggling to gain control over not only the judicial but the executive branches. And now you have this war coming up, and Netanyahu is basically on a process of eliminating threats on his border, and he's not going to stop until they're removed. So this isn't going away anytime soon. And it goes into this a little deeper. The last thing I really want to point out is that this Hezbollah's Nasrallah suggested that this killing of this guy would allow Israel politicians to claim a victory of sorts. And I'm guessing that they don't want that kind of rhetoric over there, and they don't want Israel to feel like they claimed any kind of victories whatsoever. And so you will see a response from Hezbollah on this front, and it will get bad as we move forward. So definitely keep your eye on this. The last thing I'll mention is it does indicate that we've had these other assassinations, and the assassination attempts seem to be ramping up to where they're more often, because we just had this assassination on December 25th during Christmas in Damascus against this Iranian general. And so I want you to be aware of this. We are walking into a amplification right now. You're going to see the world change soon, probably by the end of this month. So if you have not gotten your act together and ready for this, you need to do so before things start to hyperinflate and you can't afford to do anything here soon. And you just need time to get ready. So if you haven't been doing that, you need to. I just want to bring this to your attention. I expect this to break out anytime soon. And like I say, you need to watch those dates between January 5th or January 6th and February 5th with a potential attack of 4 proxies on Israel around the 15th, and a potential 6th seal or destruction of those 10 nations literally on the 30th of January. This could get ugly quickly. And you're in the middle of winter, so if this breaks all at once, that could put a lot of people in a really miserable place as we move forward in the next 2 to 3 months. So God bless. Have a great night. Put the oil in your lamp. Find Jesus. Find the open door. Pray to Him. Get right with Him. Pull the skeletons out of your closet. You need to get right with Him. And He is the only way to get to through the open door to the next level. You have to find the Son, and He's going to try you through fire here soon. We have approximately 1,366 days to the Feast of Trumpets of 27 October 2nd, which is when I believe, in my opinion, the rapture occurs, and that you will all be here, or you'll be killed before that time, which we hope doesn't happen, because I want you to get through this process to the seventh trumpet. And so for the next 1366 days, things are really going to get crazy out here. And so you just need to be aware of all that, and you need to get right with the Lord Jesus, and find the open door, find the Son, because He's the only way you can be saved out of this nightmare. And I know I don't bring that up enough, but that is what we need to do, is find the Lord Jesus and get your faith on and put the armor of God on, because things are going to get crazy out here. And as everything breaks down and goes insane and chaos comes upon the world, you need to have an anchor. And that anchor is the Lord Jesus Christ. God bless. Have a great night.